states, and to win a Magarey medal in '79 with Centrals was a big honour. I probably would have rather won a flag with them, which we should have won in 1979, but I was leading in the Sandover medal here in 1978, but got rubbed out, so that was the end of that. So I suppose that is a highlight, yes.
Let's just have a look at the back of this medal, because it's got some interesting, got an interesting inscription in regard to who it's actually presented to, John. The medal goes to the fairest and most brilliant player. Fairest. Now, a lot of people might question that over the longevity of your career.
Well, I suppose you would, because in that season, '79, I did get not rubbed out, I got reported, but Central Districts had the new hi-fi video equipment, and they managed to get me off, which was a bonus, so I still went on and won it, yeah.
Now let's go right back to the start of your senior career. From Dudinan, a regional area of Western Australia, you started off with Fitzroy. How did that come about?
Well, I got called up for national service. I went to Puckapunya and was playing in a game with an army side that contained probably, you know, heaps and heaps of VFL footballers at that stage, Rex Hunt, Alan Noonan, to name a couple, and we played North Melbourne, and I played on a little bloke called Barry Cable, and Kevin Murray came and watched the game, who was a great Fitzroy player, and invited me down for a game, trial game, so I went down and had a trial game with Fitzroy, and they signed me up for $200, and I became a Fitzroy player.
Now, the start of the career was pretty short-lived, because you, as you said, you were in national service. You actually went to Vietnam.
Yeah, I played 11 games straight in 1970. I used to fly down from Sydney every Friday night because I was stationed in Sydney, and played the 11 games, and then I went off to Vietnam and didn't return until midway through 1971.
You got through Vietnam pretty much unscathed, but the problem was the celebration when you came home.
Yeah, it was. I had a couple of drinks with my mates. I got out of the army in the November of 1971 and bought a new car, and went back home to Dudinan. We had a couple of drinks and had a car accident, and that put me out for all of 1972 and half of 1973.
Did you ever doubt you'd be back playing league footy? It was a pretty horrific accident and horrific injury to your left leg.
Yeah, it was. When I first went to the doctors, like you know, you go to a little regional hospital like Narrogin, and when you have a look at my leg, you'd think it was set by a vet, because it's got a big bow in it, and the doctors told me then that I'd never play football again, and I went back to Melbourne after I got married early '72, and Howard Toyne, who was an Olympic doctor, and he got hold of me and straightened things out as much as he could, and he got me back on track.
Now, you went back to Fitzroy, played another few seasons there, then came and played for West Perth in the WAFL, then went and played in South Australia. How did that move come about? Well,
'77, the end of '76, I came back to West Perth and played with them '77 and '78. I captained West Perth in 1978, and my contract was up. I only had a 2-year contract, and West Perth wanted me to stay, but I wanted an extra $50 a game, and they wouldn't come to the party, so Central Districts were over here seeing a bloke called Jeff Gillies. And they said, well, what you do, because I was going to Melbourne on holidays, they said, well, what we'll do is you pay your way from Adelaide to Melbourne, we'll play Perth to Adelaide and drop in and have a chat with us. I said, oh, fine. So I dropped in and had a chat, and they wined and dined me for the weekend, and they said, well, if you sign this Form 4, we'll send it back to Perth, they'll pay the extra 50, and it's all over and done. So I said, oh, that's great. So I went to Melbourne. I was there 2 days and got a phone call. Sorry, Ducky, we sold you to South Australia. And away I went.
So a surprise way for you to end up there, but how did you enjoy your time with Centrals?
Oh, it was terrific, you know, like they were a young club, and in an area which is, I suppose, on a mini basis of a Melbourne Geelong, where Centrals is 20 k's out of the middle of the city, and it was basically a pommy area, and the supporters out there were absolutely fantastic, and you know, I had a great 2 years, and the only reason we come home, Marlene was sick of moving around, because, you know, we'd married to Melbourne and then to Adelaide, and we'd never settled down, and we were having a family, and had 2 young kids, so I played the 2 years and decided to come back home again.
You mentioned you would have loved to have won a premiership with Centrals. It must have been a bit of a mixed feeling, because the year you won the Magarey, you were actually minor premiers and didn't make the grand final.
Yeah, Glenn, we should have won it. We finished top, and in the first final we played Port Adelaide, who have won more premierships than anyone going around, and we should have won it, but Port beat us by 9 points, and then in the preliminary final we had to play South Adelaide, and they beat us by 6 or 9 points again. So we went out in straight sets, which was pretty disappointing. So we thought we'd do it again in 1980, but I got badly injured at the start of 1980 and split my kidney and missed the first 5 weeks, so we were behind the 8 ball a bit from the start of that next year.
It's not unfair to say you were a pretty fearsome footballer. I mean, you had a terrific physique, you were very, very hard at the football and very, very quick. Was it part of your game to use that intimidation when you're on the ground?
I suppose it was, Glenn, because when I was at Fitzroy, I played with a great mate of mine, and Ian McCulloch, and Macca was the first ruck, and he was as rough as they come, and in the finish I was his ruck rover, and we were both the same height, you know, about 6'4", and that was our job at Fitzroy, to look after your little blokes, your Johnny Murphys, your Gary Wilsons. And I suppose when I came back to Perth, and West Perth had lost Billy Dempsey, their #1 ruckman, and they thought, well, where are we going to go from here? And I took on that mantle and had to look after, you know, once again, the young blokes at West Perth, and your Les Spongs and your Corrie Buicks and your Peter Managlios.
Unusual for a player of 6'4". Pace was one of your great attributes, and you almost actually ran in the stall gift one year.
Yeah, I think it was either 74 or 75. I was going to have a run, and I tore a quad, but yeah, I was lucky. I suppose it comes from my mother. My mother was a very good sprinter, and I was always quick at school, and then when I busted my leg, I didn't think I'd ever get back that speed, but it came back, and won a couple of sprints at Gloucester Park, and won a few dollars there, won a couple of football sprints at Claremont Oval, and yeah, it was a big part of my game, I suppose, that you could jump up in the ruck and tap the ball and run away from most ruckmen, and you know, that was a great attribute to have.
Now, brother Bill won a Norm Smith medal in the first of Essendon's back-to-back premierships in '84. He played in both of them. He's coaching now, North Beach, in the local WA Amateur League. You've been helping him out, but you can't help him out as much over the last few weeks. What happened recently? Tell us the story.
Glenn, it's funny because I go down there, and because my son Nathan, he plays there with Bill, and Bill's been there now, I think, as coach for 6 or 7 years, and won 3 premierships, and I just go down there and he says, well, give us a hand and run a bit of water. And I was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was walking around running. I can't run water, I walk water, and there was a couple of blokes in a bit of a scrap, a North Beach bloke and a Balcatta bloke, and another bloke from Balcatta come in and dropped his knees into a North Beach bloke, so I grabbed him and threw him out of the road, and unfortunately the goal umpire reported me, and I had to take a mandatory 2 weeks suspension, and I suppose I'm the only water boy in Australia ever to be rubbed out.
Well, at least you're living up to your reputation. Now, finally, on a very serious note, West Perth still going around, Central District still going around. You're standing in front of the Fitzroy jumper. The Fitzroy, of course, know more in their own right. They amalgamated, for want of a better terminology, with Brisbane. How did that affect you, seeing your old club, the one that you played for, no longer in existence?
Well, again, that was probably the saddest part of my life, I suppose. You know, to watch a grown man like Kevin Murray at Subiaco Oval after the last game in September 1996 stand there and cry. And to see them go down and finish, which, you know, it was really, really sad. But I suppose if the AFL had to put as much money into Fitzroy as they've done into Sydney and Brisbane and the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda, Fitzroy would still be around. But, you know, that's how it is, and I suppose there'll be some more clubs go in Melbourne. But West Perth, I still follow West Perth very strongly. Got 2 nephews, Simon and Regan, playing there. And of course, Central Districts, I went over to their first ever premiership win in 2000, and they backed it up in 2001, and unfortunately lost 2002 to Sturt. But this year they're on top of the ladder again, so I'm happy.
Should go and buy a lotto ticket.
No, it's very good.
You are unique, as we said, John. Not many players have played league football in South Australia, Victoria and Western Australia, and of course to win the coveted Magarey medal. It was a great career, and thanks for sharing some time today with us.
Thanks very much, my pleasure.